All right, you better come on and ring the bell and wake them up
Ring
this
my
morning. Ring the bell, ring
bell.
the bell. Yes, I love it. I love it. And we
Ring
are
my
here with a
bell.
brand new week, ready to get it started, fresh off of Resurrection Weekend.
Fresh off,
Uh,
girl.
ought to be like feeling empowered for real when you think about, what that represents, what that means for us, how we are, able to still be here and know that God is working on our behalf. He has
Yes.
set a plan in motion
Always.
so that we will always be okay. And
Always.
so, you know what? That's just the
It's that
beauty of
always for me. It's that always.
yes.
When you can give me a guaranteed
Hmm.
always, girl, you always have a key to the greatness. Oh, always? Okay.
Always. No
Always,
So
matter
my
what.
craziness,
no
my
matter what.
cuckoo-ness don't change. Yo, always. God, like, now you can delay some stuff, but it don't change. And my love for you.
Exactly. What he said, nothing can separate us from the love of God. That is so
Nothing.
deep to me, and I love that. It's the scripture in Romans. I can't think of what it is. I want to say 8:28, but I might be wrong. But anyway, it talks about nothing can separate you, neither height nor depth,
Death,
nor
yeah.
it, saying all those things.
Principalities.
And when you think of that, that's such an amazing thing that God loves you so much that nothing can separate you from the love He has for you. So if you distance yourself, that's you, but He's not going to allow anything to come between His love for you.
It never, I mean, if your mama know how to do it, if your daddy know how to not separate the love for you, don't you think the one that created you would know how to do it the best?
Agreed. And I think
Wouldn't you think that? Wouldn't you think that would be it? But good morning, Miss Patricia, Miss Phyllis, and
Natasha,
Farika. We
what
are
was you
glad
gonna
to see
say?
y'all this morning.
I was just gonna say that should excite us. We should
It
get so
does.
excited and celebrate that. There is nothing else in this world that anything in the flesh could ever guarantee.
Nothing.
But we can guarantee God. That is
Yes.
the one thing that He is constant. He is able. I mean, so just the idea, just not just to know it, but to feel it, to embody it, to me is just a way to. It keeps me excited. It keeps me motivated, and it just makes me want to get up every day and just keep, doing whatever, or serving Him in whatever way He calls me. So
Yeah. And
Man,
and I think it's such like how you can have a bad moment or bad second, and then you can take it to him, and it's like it didn't even happen. Like
happens.
how he really says, "Why are you carrying that? That is too heavy for you. Why are you?"
release it and let it go.
And when
Release
you
that.
do, like you can tell the difference when you really let it go, and when you play like you when you pretending
And I
that
Two
you
I talk
different
about that
things.
all the time. I tell people all the time, especially when they talk about forgiveness. They're like, "Yeah, I forgave that a long time ago." I said, "No, you probably did that on a logical level, but you didn't do that on an emotional level."
yes.
You know what I mean? So I agree with you.
Yeah, you
So
didn't
it's
let it
a
get to
huge
that
difference.
heart.
It is. It's
Mhm.
a really big difference. And we go through life and we start thinking that, we are ahead of the game, and then anything can trigger us. And once if it triggers you back to the same old behaviors, then you're really not healed from that. You are really still,
Yep.
you just covered it up. You put a lid on it, but there's still some mess up underneath there that needs to be cleaned out for real and dealt with.
And
No,
it's
and I'm
nothing
gonna
wrong. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say it's probably too early in the morning for this, but a lot of us like to have this concept of let's just pray it away. And I
Yes.
tell
Have you
people,
prayed
you
about
can't,
it? Have you prayed?
yeah.
Girl, I mean,
And I'm like, it's not just praying about it. Like, did you give yourself permission to feel it? Did you
yes.
give yourself permission to be sad, to be angry, to be whatever it is that you're
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
emotionally attached you are to it? Well, no, I prayed about it. Okay, well,
Okay.
that's great. But if you don't deal with it, like Angela just said, you're going to bury it. Then you're going to slap a stamp of prayer on it. And then you're like, oh, okay, I'm
I'm
okay.
good. And then as soon as that song come on, you over in the corner, oh, oh, and
Or
this is
you somewhere angry and want to run them, run and hit them with a car and drag them down
Yep.
the sidewalk. It
Yeah.
is something to be said about how we move and how we allow ourselves to think that okay, we're good, but you really know. I mean, you really know down deep
you
that
deep down.
I've got some unresolved issues, and you can choose to ignore them, but it will come out at a point in time that you know how you can take your kids somewhere and you say, "Don't embarrass me over here," and then they get over there and they act a straight nut, or they get to the don't ask me for something when we get up to this counter, and then they want
Don't.
to, I want chips, can't have it, and they start throwing a tantrum, and then you looking like I just told you, don't go in here and do
Don't
this.
act a fool.
Well, that is how your emotions are. Your emotions are, if you don't gain control of your emotions, they will show out on you at an
Yep.
inappropriate time. Whether you burst out
Mhm.
crying, whether you get a fit of anger, whether you get overwhelmed and anxious, but your emotions will control you if you don't take the time to deal with those unresolved issues. I
Very
Yes.
promise
true.
you it's going to show
That's
up
so
for you.
crazy. And Angela, the crazy part that people don't understand is okay to be like, I'm still working on that. I'm not
Mm-hmm,
healed. Like I'm still
mm-hmm,
Mm.
going through the process. I
mm-hmm.
stay away right now because I'm still triggered. I'm still
Yes,
going through. No,
yes,
I can't go to the club because I'm still going through some things.
right.
It's oh, like why do we feel like we have to because we love the Lord and we have faith and we believe and we trust God that we cannot admit when something really does hurt. No, that that stumped your toe and your little toe, that little pinky toe is still saying, I hurt. And it's okay to be like, okay,
And
God,
it's acknowledging that, right? And
yes,
although God knows, I say it all the time, God wants you to confess with your tongue. He wants you to get honest with yourself,
Yes.
right? And then
Uh-huh.
get honest with him. And it's a form of communication. And we don't communicate well with God and we don't communicate well with ourselves. So if we can't do it with God first and then we can't do it with ourselves, how do we really expect ourselves to really go out there and do that with other people? You
yes,
know?
And that's the reality. I mean, we will try to be super women or super men
I
and
know
feel
I have.
like, because Farika says exactly. I think it's important you all say this. I know for me, until I realized my emotions in some areas, I did exactly actually need to work on me. But for some time I didn't. I was always the strong one. And
Yeah.
a lot
Mhm.
of times
It's that
people get the
strong one
pressure
that
of
you
being
try
the
to
strong one.
play.
You think that people see you and feel like, okay, well, she's always the one that can, we go to that can give us the answer or comfort everybody else. Or if you're a single mom, you feel like, okay, well, I got to be strong because I don't have anybody else to, depend on. There's certain situations where it all comes on you. And if you don't have an outlet, if you don't, if you're lying to yourself and lying to God, and God is thinking, he's
Lie to
up there
God,
like,
yourself, your
baby, you'll
family,
be back.
everybody.
Yep.
Right. You're pushing everything down, but there are times where our physical bodies will display some of the emotional things that are
Oh,
coming out.
yes, it will.
Yeah, it will.
Oh, yes, it will.
And you know what does never lie is that face. That face expression. It don't
Hmm.
have a. Oh, we supposed to be covering up our feelings.
Yeah.
it, it
It's
Well,
not a
don't.
filter.
listen,
It's not a filter.
there are some people out there, and I'm
Yeah.
guilty of that in the past, can really wear a really good mask. But I
Well,
love
What
when
they say,
Angela
a
says,
poker face. What they say,
yeah,
you have
and
a good
although
poker
we might
face.
have that poker face, the physical body is saying something completely different. Like you're so not in alignment with yourself. You know what
yeah.
I mean? I think we talked about that last week about like people having medical issues, going to the
Hmm.
doctor, and the doctor cannot for the life of you tell you what's wrong with you. Can't even give you a diagnosis, and you're searching for one because it comes down to your emotional stress. It comes down to you burying your emotions and acting
Mhm.
like everything's okay. And because I prayed to God, things are going to be better. And I am not saying that prayer does not work, but with prayer requires you to come home to yourself, get honest with yourself, give yourself permission to feel those feelings, and then give it to God. If
Yeah.
you don't recognize what you're feeling, and I tell this to clients all the time, if I don't recognize how I'm feeling, how am I going to know what to take to God?
How do I know? Like, and
How,
not
yeah,
only that, Natasha, God made you, he anointed you to be a therapist. Like, he gave you the gifts. So people think that I have to pray because God is my therapist, God is my doctor, God is my friend, God's my and I'm not saying he's not. But one thing he does is he anoint his children around, like he put gifts and talents on his children so that you can be like, okay, I heard it, but I need you to go see somebody. I need
buddy.
you to go and talk to somebody.
You know what? That's really good, Sparkle, because the reality is, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, prayer is the faith. I'm praying to God and having faith that you're going to work it out, that you're going to do it for me. But the work part is you dealing with those emotions. The
Mm-hmm.
work part is
Mm,
you
come
saying,
on
I can
now.
sit here and face the fact that I am angry
I'm
at this
ready to
person,
hit
or I
something.
got to face the fact that I am grieving, or I have to face the fact that I have extreme sadness behind this, or I have a emotional attachment where rejection bothers me. Whatever that
Mhm,
is that you're dealing
mhm.
with, church hurt,
Yeah,
somebody abandoning you as a child, or you feel like
whatever.
whatever that is. You can give it to God in prayer. That's the faith in action, but He has to still have the work to back it up in order for you to have a complete healing. One
For
can't
you
go
to
faith,
be able.
faith and works. You got to have them hand in hand. You can't have one and not the other. You can work and not have faith, or have faith and not
Mhm.
work. But together, that's the winning combination.
That's
And a
that's
lot
where the magic happens.
that's where it
Yes,
happens.
that's where where you think God is. What is it, Angela?
The
Angela, what you
genie in a
say?
bottle.
Yes, yes.
Baby, yes,
That's
you
what he.
think
That's what he say. The genie in the bottle. Go talk to my daughter. Daughter, go talk to Sparkle. Sparkle's been through that before. She can help you see. And last week I was really missing my grandmother. Like, it was a heavy grandmama miss. Like, I just needed to be in her presence. Well, I don't do a big grave. You go to the graveyard and because I she's not there, but God sent me there. And I'm telling you, immediately when I left the great, I was laughing. I didn't do a bunch. I thought I was going to cry my whole time. No, none
Mhm.
of that happened, but it was still a release for what I needed for that moment.
Mhm.
And it's good that you acknowledge that, because you just said something important. You know how people will say that, well, I'm not going to the grave because that's not where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true, because their spirit, has the body may be there, been placed
Spirit
there, but
isn't.
their spirit is elsewhere. But you have to know sometimes that some things are symbolic.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we avoid things because we say, oh, well, girl, they ain't there, whatever. But there's something inside of you that still is in turmoil behind what happened. And sometimes it may be that trip that releases you to say, okay, you know what, now I can match what I've been feeling with where this place
Mm-hmm.
represents that.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you've dealt with it, now you've moved on, and now you feel better. And now you didn't have the reaction that you thought you had because you went and faced
Yes.
a place that you
Well,
hadn't been able to face before.
I love that. And I think a lot of people, take the whole, saying that God says we're supposed to suffer to a whole other level. God
Mm-hmm.
doesn't say we have to endure suffering. We're not immune to suffering. We are
No.
all going to
Mm-hmm.
suffer, but
Right.
we don't have to endure suffering if we allow ourselves to come to make emotional peace with whatever it is that we're experiencing in our lives.
Right.
You know, a lot of what we battle today, especially with mental health, while part of it is a brain, disorder, and why it is partially physiological and psychological, a lot of it has to do with our inability to manage ourselves,
Mm.
to manage self-control, to manage impulsivity. Right now, impulsivity has a lot to do with the brain, with the way that the brain is wired. But at the same time, it has a lot to do with you learning to control yourself, you learning to recognize what you're feeling and regulate how you're feeling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's good.
if you're not paying attention to that, I always say imagine your emotions in the driver's seat, and your emotions have taken the wheel, and your emotions is driving you to wherever you're
Mm.
going. Your emotions drive your decisions. Your emotions determine what you're going to do and how you're going to do. And if that's the case, then God's not at the wheel. What's happening is God is either in the passenger side, he's either in the back seat, or you took off and you left God out of the car. Right?
Come on, Natashah.
Right?
That's
And
a great analogy.
so kind of coming back to, I know we wanted to talk this morning about my favorite scripture that has just kept me alive all this time, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you. He's like your GPS. He's your map. But if you let your emotions stay in the driver's seat, right? Yep. Where is the GPS? Are you even using the GPS? And again, is the GPS even in the car? And if it is in the car, did you even turn it on? Are you even seeking the GPS to get you to where you need to be? And I speak from experience, because prior to my sobriety, I allowed my emotions to control me. I thought I was controlling it by the way that I controlled everyone and everything around me. But in reality, my emotions dictated the things that I did.
Yeah.
Right. And it was also a way to protect myself. So if I was fearful, Angela talked about rejection. I was so fearful of rejection. I was so fearful of not being chosen. I was so fearful of so many things that I tried to control everybody around me. And because the fear was so intense, that's what made my decisions of either allowing you to come into my world and me putting up with bad behaviors, or me pushing you away and keeping you at a distance. Right? There was no consulting God and seeking God and saying, okay, God, what do you think is good for me? Where do you think I should go? Right? And so I can't say it enough. I had somebody say the other day about, I don't have emotions. Okay, well, first of all, you're a human being.
You have emotions.
So you have emotions.
Yeah.
You just choose not to connect.
You're a control freak. That's all. You're just
right. You're just not connecting to yourself. And I want people to hear that. When you think like, oh, I don't have emotions, or I don't have feelings about that, that means you're not connected to yourself. And if you are not connected to yourself, how are you going to be able to truly know who you are? How are you able to be authentic? How are you able to stand in your truth? And again, how do you know to go to God with what it is you need healing from? Because this idea that somehow we have to be perfect to go before the Lord, again, no judgment. Speaking from experience, I was that person. I felt like I had to keep everything clean before I go before him. But we have to accept being perfectly imperfect, because he is the healer. We go to him, he's going to have the answers. He is going to be able to guide us. He is going to be able to heal us and rescue us from whatever it is that we need to be rescued from in our lives. But if you don't know what that is, if you're not taking time in your day, I have people that tell me, I do a very simple check-in with my clients. I have them every day, either start of the day, end of the day, they do a journal reflection. I cannot tell you how many people don't like to do journal reflections. They won't. They're too busy in their lives to take 10 minutes to check in with themselves. And we've got a world out there that is so fast paced and so busy. And I got to work, and I got to do this, and I got to do this for my neighbor, and I got to do this for my friend, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. And it's like, that's great. But at what point are you going to stop and check in with you to see where you're at and what you need to take to God? Right. And people say, oh, well, I pray. What exactly are we praying about then? You know what I mean?
When you say, God, I love you. Okay, wait a minute.
God, take this from me. And take what?
And I love how
really of people, because when you effectively block the emotions that you have, when you don't deal with them, when you refuse to take time to acknowledge them, that's a whole different set of issues that you've created for yourself unknowingly. because at the bottom line end of the day, you know how they have these shows called Snapped,
Mm-hmm.
where you have pushed your stuff so far down that you're one snap away from
One
killing
snap.
somebody, going to jail. And I mean, you know what? And you probably want to say that, oh, I would never do that. But when you don't allow yourself to deal with emotions, you honestly don't really know what you're going to do because there's so much going on underneath the
That
surface.
part.
Well, let me explain why you're going to snap. Because what people don't realize is that when you bury your emotions, it causes emotional stress in the brain, causes the front part of your brain to go to sleep. Now you start to operate from the survival part of your brain. What do we do in survival mode? We become primal in survival mode. And when we become primal, we do whatever, whenever, wherever to survive.
Yes.
So Angela's 100% correct. So when you are triggered and you have buried stuff for so long, you're not operating from your cognitive mind. You are not functioning from the thriving part of your mind. You are instinctively operating from the survival part of your brain. And in the survival part of your brain, you are obsessive, compulsive, impulsive, manipulative, amongst many other unhealthy behaviors.
Come on.
Now make it clear, Natasha. Let's say this. And I know that because we feel like we're civilized human beings and we're not going to ever do any of these things that, whatever. Not, I've seen people do that and that's
I
not
would
me.
never do that.
The reality is when they do tests of rats,
Mhm.
say you put rats in an environment where there's minimum food or there's different, different things that stress them out. When they get down to survival, they start attacking each other.
Yep.
They start eating each other. They
Snap,
start
crack a pop.
backbiting and hitting each other because it is survival. And they're
Correct.
probably thinking that, okay, so it's only a little bit of food and I'm looking over here and I'm looking over there like, I gotta get some food.
Yeah.
Kill or be
And if
killed.
you think about yes, kill up. And it's unfortunate because we feel like, oh, well, we are never going to be put in that position. But you don't even realize how you operate like that sometimes, even in everyday life when you feel threatened at your job. Then that's when you go in and start talking about somebody else and what they're doing and not doing and how they're not, or
So-
they don't come back from their break. Or girl, I just want to tell you, because you're trying to get so many little things that we do unconsciously to undermine other people. That's why they say crabs in a barrel. You don't want to see somebody else, so you start doing bad behavior. So you're no different than a rat trying to survive because you feel like
I'm gonna feed somebody a shot of espresso this morning off of what you just said, because what you just explained, I think people think that process is intermittent, but let me explain something. If in early childhood you had trauma, if in early childhood you had dysfunction or chaos and you've been bearing emotions since then, you have been in survival mode since then. So what does that mean? That means most of your life, the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and so on, you have been operating from survival mode. You have not been operating from the cognitive part of your brain.
No.
That means your decisions have been based on fear, rejection, sadness, abandonment, all the things that's trapped in your trauma.
Everything that you feel like you have civilized, that you are so, you've arrived, and because you're a CEO or because you're this or because you're married or because whatever. But if you think about it, when you deal with abandonment issues or you deal with rejection issues, then you start becoming, I'm going to get you before you get me. I'm going to cheat on you before you cheat on me. I'm going to do something to you before you get me. You know what I'm saying? Or you start thinking like, okay, when you go in your refrigerator and you think, okay, well, I'm gonna give me a glass of juice and somebody else has drunk it all, and now you're mad. Why would you be mad about that?
About something like
you just choose another beverage or whatever. But we get into some high emotional situations,
some very high,
all because of some very things that we have not chosen to deal with.
So remember the article?
Orange juice, it was just you made it because it was about the orange juice. But that whole little orange juice had
because you feel like somebody takes things from you. I never have anything by myself. Somebody always takes what I have.
So remember the article you said about Beyonce, the thing that you shared with us the other day?
Yes.
And you said about Beyonce's response.
Look, don't give all that yet because we're going to talk about that.
But that response from her, right? comes back to your orange juice.
Yes.
The cheating wasn't about her. The cheating
Correct.
wasn't about the marriage.
Yes.
The cheating is rooted in his crap, his stuff from his early childhood years that he hasn't dealt with, and now it's surfacing this way in their relationship. And I just thought that was beautiful, and I promise I won't get into it. It's when you work on your self-worth and you work on your self-esteem and you work on your side of the street, you learn to realize that empty carton of orange juice in the fridge isn't gonna phase you, because you're gonna realize that empty carton of juice has nothing to do with you.
I'll go and give me some. I'll stop and give me something to drink. But it should not get to the point, and this is the reality. You may be like, dang, I was wanting that juice, but it shouldn't make you angry to the point that when you leave out the house, you are so pissed off that if somebody cuts in front of you, now you have road rage. You have initiated a chain of reactions based off of something simple like somebody drunk my juice. And now you went and did some things that you never would have done otherwise.
Angela, what about the part when people like the car broke down on the side of the road, or my husband, the devil is messing with me. The devil is all over me today.
Poor devil.
The devil is the devil was like, what are we talking about? Like, what?
Back up to Teresa's comment. Teresa said, as a parent educator, I talk to parents about this often, because your children show up and you don't realize when you start arguing and fussing with your kids, like, get somewhere and go to the bed. And you're constantly, you start messing with their nervous system. You start putting them in a position where
they dumb and stupid.
Yes. So they go to school and you wonder why bullies are created. Well, if I can't,
you created the bully,
get back at you, then I'm going to go and exert control on somebody else.
Sure. If I can't express, if you don't teach me in my family space and within the family system on how to identify emotion and express emotion, like you said earlier, it's going to come out sideways. Right? That's why when these kids shoot up the schools, everybody wants to look at the kid. And I always look at the family system and I say, okay, what was going on there long before that child fell through the cracks that led them to a place of now coming in and shooting up a school? Right? Well, there's always a backstory.
Yes, always. But not only that,
we have to understand. Yes, it's not just I woke up this morning and decided, because 9 times out of 10, this has been an ongoing thing where people say, I just wish I could do something. I'm just so angry. My daughter shared a video she saw yesterday, and I thought about when you talked about people who, feel like they don't have emotions. But, we say that the things that grieve God should grieve us, right? And it was a video of an older white man. And he had on a little shirt, but he was in a diaper. And this lady had him, he came outside. And this guy saw him, and he was barely able to walk. And the guy said, "What's wrong? You okay? Let me help you get back home." And the lady, the caretaker, was like, "Don't you come over here. You go back and do what I told you. You don't need to be out here. You come on, because I told you what you need to do." And so she was making him, I guess, maybe I don't know what he actually did in the household, but it was a form of punishment. Like, because you did this, you're going to walk out here in this store diaper. And so the guy was like, "What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? That's common behavior." And it made me tear up and cry, because I felt like, why would you do that to an old person? Yes, why would you humiliate him? Why would you?
What's going on with her and what's happened to her?
Exactly.
That you are okay with that.
He suffered because of that. But what is going on over here that you felt like you had to make him do that in order to exert control or whatever?
And or feel better about herself, because exerting that control gives her a sense of control within herself or power. And a lot of people will do that because it in some way validates them and validates their own worth. You know what I mean? That's why the abuse cycle is perpetuated.
It gives them control and makes them feel like I'm running this. And as Marie said, exactly, your entire life you have survived. You are truly not living, because your decisions have been impulsive and reactive. You must regain your power, sanity, and life, freeing yourself from that bondage. That's a bondage mentality when you feel like you want to make people who go out and do abusive things to older people who beat up on women that you have more power, you have more strength than, people who mistreat children. All of those things come from you have to look at the backstory of where they came from. What made you? Because most people don't. You're not born to be evil like that. To go, you know what I
No.
mean? It's the environments. You can put two different kids in similar environments. One is going to get one thing, one is going to get another.
So
But
true.
that anger and that wanting to go out and be cruel to animals or be cruel to other people, that's built from
I'll
That's
tell
some
something.
you.
cruelty.
I'll tell you something with those two kids growing up in that same environment. Although they will behave differently, both of them didn't have their primal needs met. They both
Yep.
experienced the same thing, but
Mm-hmm.
how they react to it. Because I hear a lot of families that say, "Oh, I have one child that's an addict, and I have one that's not an addict," and I'm sitting there going,
They still an
I
addict.
beg to
Still
differ.
addict.
They are
Yeah.
still
They
addicted.
still an
They're
addict.
just
Right.
They
addicted.
cover that
And
addiction up.
here's what you find out when you get the history. The other child that's not using drugs and alcohol is a perfectionist, is overachieving,
Yep.
has to, have to get everything done, is the controller, is the control freak,
Yep.
right? OCD, perfectionism, needing to be in control all the time. We can be addicted to that as well. That's one of the reasons that I want people to understand that addiction isn't just about drugs and alcohol. It's also behavioral. So we're sitting over here watching this one child in the system using drugs and alcohol. I'm like, oh, I don't know what happened to him or her and how that came to be. And then you're looking like, oh, I have the perfect child over here. It's like, no, the entire system was impacted by the fact that their primal needs weren't met. And at the end of the day, everything that we're talking about comes back to, if I can check in with where I'm at emotionally, then I can recognize what I need. And then I can go to my Father in heaven, and God will then guide me on how to meet those needs.
Yes.
He will meet those needs for me. He will teach me how to love myself unconditionally. He will teach me how to forgive myself. He will teach me how to show myself mercy.
Is
and
that
grace.
real becoming her? Like you start checking yourself. Like, did I react? Like, wait a minute.
Why did I do that? Like why did I do that? And get down to the root of it, like Natasha says all the time. Why did I have that reaction? Because it didn't warrant that. If your child comes home and says something and you just fly off the handle, sometimes you have to check yourself and say, why would I have that intense of a reaction towards this child? Let me check myself and figure out what was going on that I felt the need to blow off. And I know my supervisor was saying something before about I think Brene Brown was talking about, but it's over the line behavior and under the line behavior. And when you are critical, when you are blaming, when you do different things in a job scenario or in some other scenario, when you hit below the belt, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
Why is that how you choose to display?
I'ma hurt them, and they ain't even gonna know I hurt them.
Right.
Like,
in whatever situation, if you're in a position of authority at a job and you feel like I can belittle this person, like, why do you keep bringing me stupid stuff? Well, maybe you are dealing in stressful situations over here, and instead of you taking the time to say, you know what, right now it's not a good time for me to answer that, because how I'm going to come off on you is not going to be the way that I should. I'm probably going to say something to make you feel stupid and dumb, because right now I'm overwhelmed and I feel stupid and dumb. And because I'm out of my element, I haven't taken the time to calm down. So
most people don't know how to take a beat.
No.
Most people do not know on how to just take that step back and be like, okay, this actually might be a me issue. We're so busy blaming everybody else, and it's because of you that I'm having this reaction, when they don't realize, like, you hold all the power in what you control within yourself, right? When I told you guys about the hula hoop last week, I get to control what I want to believe to be true. I get to control how I feel, and I get to control how I behave. So this concept of you made me mad, there is not a person on this planet ever again
that
has that much power.
If they have that much control over you, then
because
you understand you allowed it. But you also have to understand, what is it about me that allows me to deal with people with bad behavior? Amen. Why do I continue to keep choosing Tony, Michael, John?
And their behaviors are the exact same.
People who talk crazy to me, who call me out of my name. Why am I continuing to choose these type of people when I know how it makes me feel? But somehow we have in our minds adjusted to the fact that, oh, this is normal. It's not normal. But we make toxic behavior normal. We make dysfunction normal. And it's time to stop normalizing all of those things
Because
and
if
stop.
we don't think we're worth it, and we don't think we're good enough, right? We're going to settle for whatever these men, these women, whatever in these relationships, even with family, give us. I watch a lot of families where they tolerate a lot of BS and nonsense from their loved one. It's like, you wouldn't even let a stranger sometimes come into your home and disrespect you. Why do we allow the family to disrespect us?
Oh,
And the
because
first thing
that's my
is,
family. That's the blood. Blood is thicker than water. Like,
mm, mm,
women.
It's not
mm.
a license to be
Okay.
abusive to anybody,
Thank
regardless of
you.
whatever else.
Thank
The
you.
reality is we have to be mindful of our choices and understand that just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean I have to make sure that that goes to everybody else.
Come on
You
now.
have to be responsible and accountable. And if you're wanting to heal for real, the reality is God is not an author of confusion. So your household should be peaceful. Your
Yeah, it should
household
be the
should
best
be
place
well.
ever.
Your
Yeah.
household should be your
Your
sanctuary.
sanctuary.
It
Yes.
shouldn't be a place where there's always drama and chaos. And if it is, you're functioning in an environment that's not conducive for your growth, for
And
your
you're
peace.
and like Sparkle says, the operative word, I need everybody to go get a tattoo of "you allow it."
Yes. You
Go get a fake
who
sticker, right?
allowed you in? You did.
You did.
You know how to do it in a license plate. Look, you
Yeah,
allowed it.
You
you
allowed
allowed
it. Yes.
it.
Like, you allowed it. But not only that, when y'all think about everything that y'all are saying, it it requires a change.
Yes.
And I just pulled it up. 60 to 70% of people naturally resist change.
Ooh,
60 to 70%.
That's a lot.
that's
That is
high.
a lot.
That is so 60 to 70. But it's so true, because people will say, I tried that and it's too
Exactly.
complicated. It's too
Exactly.
much that you have
It's
to do
always
through.
worth for me. If it ain't fixed, don't broke it. All these
Uh,
little phrases that we use to justify why we don't want to change. That's
Why
deep.
we don't
60,
want to change. And at 60 to 70% of, I remember in an interview, the guy asked me, how do you adapt to change? And I said, well, without change, you can't become better. Like, yo, he looked at me like, what?
like it was a foreign concept.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I know what he expected out of my mouth was, oh, change. I don't really like change.
Change is
People.
hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it is. Don't get
It
me wrong.
is.
It's
I'm not
hard,
saying
right?
it's hard, but when you get a brand new system, you've been on this old system for all these many years, and then you get a brand new system. That brand new system tries to take you out. But it's
Yes.
because you keep on saying, well, on this system, this is all you had to do was this. All you had to do was this. Now I have to figure out because you have to get to the root of it. And getting to the root of it is meaning I'm going to have to take some time, learn, because at a certain age, people are like, I'm too old to keep learning. Okay.
You're never too old to
You're
keep.
never too old to keep.
Let's clear that up right now. You're never too old to learn something and
I
to.
don't know why we put age expiration dates on everything.
Exactly.
Everything has an expiration date. I'm too old to be changing. I ain't never had no love, so I'm good. This is how my life is. This is how it is. That's because you have allowed that negative thinking, that survivor mode. You have decided, instead of me doing the work to adapt to the new way of living, it's too complicated. Let me just stay in my comfort zone. It's people that want to move into a new house, but the reason why they will not go to a new house is because that means I ain't gonna know nobody. I'm gonna have to get used to people, and I don't do good with getting to know new people. Why? That new person that you don't want to meet could be the best blessing of your life, but because you don't want it.
Well, I posted.
It's sad to me that people don't recognize the fact that we are, as humans, with a brain that we are in such a great position to do whatever we want to. Your brain is the most powerful thing that you have access to. and we don't use enough of it. And what we do is we downplay the intelligence level that has been deposited in us, because your brain is wired and adapted to change. It's wired and adapted to you know what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, everything in your life has changed. You don't even, we have cell phones that we didn't have when they were doing rotary phones. Or you listen to streaming music when before you used to listen to cassette tapes. And so things continue to change and evolve and get better. You know, even to the point of you got Waymos out here. So that's, you know, driverless cars who are able to get in there and take you somewhere. You don't even have to get a driver.
You don't even have to get, you can plug up to get gas now. Like, I can only, she was, I mean, when I say that she was typing, she was,
I'm going to get this out.
Okay, before you get that one out, I want to say, Natashah, and I'll give you the floor.
No, I don't need the floor.
Why so many people, why so many people resist change? Comfort, safety. Your brain likes what it knows. Your brain likes what it knows, because even your brain don't want to change. Your brain is saying, I don't want to go through all that and change up. I'm good.
Well, your brain goes into safety mode. Think about a computer, right?
When it's in safety. Your brain is in safety mode. So I'm going to stay safe.
You can remove that. I mean, when people say my brain doesn't want to learn anything, that's not really the truth.
Because then they hold on to that.
Well, the safety mode is the brain saying that it's registering that there's a threat. So come back to belief systems. If I believe something is a threat, then you send a message to the computer of your brain that says we need to protect it. So the brain is doing what the brain is called to do. Right? The brain
told it to do.
But it's kind of like when you put into the chat GPT, right? You told your brain that somehow the world is against me. Then the brain's like, well, if everybody's going to be against you.
And then your phone heard it. So everything that you see is, the world is against me.
The world is against me, right? So everything just lines up, and then that just keeps you further disconnected from yourself.
Yes, because it's still our programming of our brain with the self-limiting beliefs, with the negative self-talk, all those things. We set the parameters of where our brain is going to go or not go. So when you go and talk to someone like a Natashah, that helps you deal with the unresolved issues and all of the things that you have, that you buried deep down, then you become a person who's more open to change, who's more open to going through life, not in survival mode, who can go through life and say, you know what, just because I was rejected my last 3 relationships doesn't mean the next person that I meet is going to reject me. If we don't work out, it's not because it's me. Maybe it just wasn't good timing.
Yes.
Maybe it's just, I'm not mad about it.
No, I know the timing means a lot.
I wish the best for you.
Yeah, I didn't need, people say I don't date dark-skinned men. I don't do dark skin, because at dark skinned man, what he did to me. So now
one dark skinned man taints it for all the dark skinned men that walk the planet. Come on now,
for everybody.
Well, I guess I should just stay away from white men, because I've been married twice, divorced twice by white men, so I should just assume that all white men are bad.
Them white men are terrible. I don't see. That's why you keep going through the same thing, because you keep on after them white men. Right?
I just can't seem to get it right, can I?
But we do that. Like, I'm not even going. Yeah. I don't even talk. He better not come over here, because y'all know I don't do dark men. I.
But that's even going to a restaurant. You go to a restaurant, and if you have bad service, now don't ask me to go over there, because I'm never going over there, girl, because they are not good. Mm-hmm. You may have went to one just because the people at that location didn't do it right. Doesn't mean all of the locations.
Or what if it was a different cook that night? Like, it was just a cook that was. Like, I went back the next time, and now it's one of my favorite restaurants. But when I went the first time, I didn't like it.
Most people don't even want to give it a second chance, because, for one, we get into self-preservation. Let's just keep it real. Self-preservation prevents you from re-experiencing something that you had a bad experience with first, because
Yes.
you don't want to go through that same, like, girl, I'm not going through that again. So I'd rather just not even talk to any of those type of people anymore, because my experience wasn't good. I'm not going
And
back over there
again,
again because my
you are
experience was
then
good.
not living, you are not truly living life. If you are in self-preservation mode, you are
Mhm.
not truly living, you are not being your authentic self, and you are not showing up to God wholly and fully the way that you need to be, because you are still trying to, because that means you're still trying to control and protect yourself, rather than coming back to Jeremiah 29:11, for knowing that God has plans for you. Trust in God that although all those relationships didn't
Mhm.
work, or that restaurant was malfunctioning that day, whatever that might look like for you in your life, trust in God that He's going to work it out for you. Trust in God that He knows what's better for you, and just lean into that. But no, instead, we want to stay in self preservation mode, and then we keep ourselves disconnected from the world. But what we fail to realize is that we stay disconnected from ourselves. And when
Mm.
you stay disconnected from yourself, you don't get to know you. You don't get to learn
You
you. You
don't
don't
even
get to
get to
evolve
know
as a human being.
you.
That is
That
so
is so,
true.
like, you don't even get to know you. You don't
That's sad.
even, you, like, the only person you know is your survivor you.
Hmm.
And guess what your survivor you does? It follows other people because it doesn't know how to follow itself. Your survivor you
Ooh-wee.
will listen to somebody say, "Oh, girl, I wouldn't talk to her because she's this and the other." And instead of you making your own decision about this person, you choose to follow the leader and say, "Oh, well, girl, now,
Because you don't
did you know
trust
that's the
yourself.
problem?
You don't trust
Girl,
God, you
well,
don't trust
mm-mm."
yourself. So you're
Yes.
relying on the people that are, and my might I add to that is that a survivor is following another survivor.
Survivor. So
Correct.
it's
You are
Oh,
following
not
the
oh,
leader.
following.
oh, she don't fool with them. I don't
I
fool with
don't fool
them.
with them.
Oh, you don't realize that you have got to experience life on your own terms.
Yeah.
And just because somebody married somebody and that didn't work out well, doesn't mean that person is damaged goods and you can't have a good relationship with them.
Yes.
You may be, y'all two may be, if that's what God destined to be together, it may be the
Amen.
best relationship that the two of you have ever had in your life because God was involved and brought it together. You can have a business partnership with somebody else and it may not have went well, but they can get with somebody else and it can be magic.
It can be.
You
True.
got to be able to be mature enough to say that I need to make a qualified decision for myself. Because we're no longer in grade school where I don't like her, you don't like her. Okay, well, we ain't talking.
We ain't go like
We don't do that anymore.
We're not doing that. I
We're
mean,
not doing
and
that.
that's even down to friendships. Like,
Hmm.
just because I seen Angela having dinner with a whole different group of women, that's not, see, she don't fool with me. She didn't invite me. She didn't ask me to
I'm
come.
not going to be on the morning show anymore because she
Yes,
didn't have
I'm
dinner
done with
with
her
me.
because she,
Girl,
what? Like, first of all,
we take something and we run with it and we get
Hmm.
in our feelings. We allow the emotions to take control. And the reality is, as we're getting older, as we're becoming her, as we are evolving into a more better individual, we got to stop being so judgmental, so super critical, so offended, because the spirit of
offended.
offense is really heavy on a lot of people, to
Mm-hmm.
where you think everything is about you when sometimes it's not even about you. Or maybe, you know what, we went on this side of town and we just happened to get together with spur of the moment. I didn't even really think that, or you normally don't even get out work at this time. We were going at certain times. So I felt like,
Or I didn't
I would
even think
say,
about you. I didn't.
I
You,
would,
you didn't
yeah,
even cross my
never
I
mind.
crossed my
would
mind.
say 98.8% or even 99.8% of the time, it ain't about you. And I
It's
remember my
not
sponsor
about
saying
you.
that to me because she was like, you would get rattled about the simplest things. And she used to always say, she would sit very nicely and she'd look at me and she goes, it ain't about you. This world ain't made up about you.
This
So,
It's
world does not
not.
revolve
no,
around
It's
you.
you
not.
know,
It does not.
Nobody's looking at you. You know how people be like, "Oh, I better not go because I don't want them such and such." They might. Nobody cares.
who
Look,
cares?
when I wore the outfit last time, girl, it was so many people in there. They probably don't even know what color it was, much less what kind of outfit it was. But we keep ourselves from so much because we're automatically thinking people are so vested in us, and the reality is,
They're caught
I
up in
don't
their own
care.
Or you
stuff.
see, everybody keep looking at me. Everybody
Oh,
keep looking at me.
why is
Everybody
everybody
say,
looking at me, baby? It's a sign up there that says follow these directions, and they're just looking in your direction, trying to follow the direction so they can know which way to go.
You're just in the way of
You
You're
of
in
their
in the
the way.
way. You're
direction.
I
just
don't
standing
know
up
why
in
she
front
keep
of.
looking at me. Or if somebody does keep looking at you, maybe they recognize your face. Maybe they like your earrings. Maybe they admire. See, people, see, that's why I don't go out, because people are always looking at me. Girl, you really let that much, you giving them that much
Too much
space in
energy.
your
Yeah,
head.
too much
Too much
energy.
energy. Look,
Like, it's
with
the rental space.
unresolved emotions, the end of the day, unresolved emotions that keep you in bondage and keep you
Yeah.
from living life to the fullest. And we started our time by Jeremiah 29:11. You know, knowing the plans that God has for us. And when you stay focused on that, don't worry about everybody else's plans for you.
Man.
Be concerned about God's plans for you.
No, and I want to leave us with the last part, because we just focus on Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that God has for you. We don't dig back in that other end of it. He says plans to prosper. I know the plans I have for you. God decrees. God declares the Lord. The Lord stamped it and said, "I know the plans I have for you."
Mm-hmm.
But he go on and say plans to prosper you. Okay, he has the plans to prosper you and not cause you harm. Like, then he said, and to give you a hope and a future. Like, like in HR world, we call it a hamburger. Like when you go talk to somebody and you need to speak to them about a disciplinary. You have to give the top bun has to be some plans that you have to get them to go in, and what you like about what they're doing and how they're doing it. The meat is, I really came here to talk to you about this meat. It's really why you sitting here. But at the bottom, I'm going to tell you how, if you get this right, how things are going to look up for you because you're going to get it right. So God didn't just throw us out there. He gave us the whole hamburger so that you can, like, but I'm not going to harm you. You might go through some things, but it's not going to harm you. The plans might not feel like they're coming out or they're not working out. But I still, the bun on top, I already told you. And at the bottom, I already told you you have a future and you're going to
So
prosper.
when I get called into your HR office, it's because you're going to serve me a hamburger. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes, I'm going to serve you a
Like
hamburger
that.
every
Okay.
single
Good
time,
and hot, fresh and ready.
because because it's very critical how you deliver. If
Facts.
I come in and only deliver you the hamburger, you're not going to correct anything. You're not going to do anything right. You're going to go out on the floor and tell them how terrible I am, how I don't do this and I don't do that. You're going to create chaos. So I have to deliver it so that you can understand I'm here for you. I want to make a difference in your life, but we have to correct this part. We have to get this corrected so that we can get to the other part and we can eat the whole sandwich and enjoy.
But think about how that is for children. You know, if they're going to the principal's office or whatever, you know, you're like, you in here every week for bad behavior about something. You know, what is wrong with you? Why can't you get it right? If that's your approach right off the rip, they tuned out. By the time you
They
say every
go.
time you in here every week for the same old same old.
Yeah, because the person is hearing you say that you're more focused on how I'm behaving. You're not willing to really listen
You're not,
to
and
what's
you're not
happening
invested in
at the
me.
level.
You're not invested in me because you already know what your tactic is. You already know, you have already labeled me as that type of child. So who did it? Oh, Josh. I knew it was Josh.
You ain't got to tell me because I already know who it is. Versus thinking that if you have bad behavior in school, why,
It's
what is
something.
going on? Let me help me understand what is going on that you feel like you have to come here and do this. And let's have a conversation because maybe they feel like nobody listens to me in my home or nobody, you know, whatever.
So it comes back to emotions, right?
It
The
Yeah.
comes
emotions
back to
driving the
the yes,
behaviors. So it
comes
comes back to
back.
teaching them to recognize what they're feeling, what they're
Mm-hmm.
believing to be true. And again, all the stuff that we talk about, if they would introduce it into our school systems, if they would teach our kids this at a younger age, I 1,000% believe that our mental health crisis and our
It would.
substance abuse crisis would be less than what it is. I'm not saying it would be completely gone, but it would
Right.
be a lot less than what it is because people are
Absolutely.
learning at a very early age on
Yes.
recognizing how they're feeling, being able to have a voice to speak about how
Yes.
they're feeling, and being able to be taught coping skills on how to deal with those feelings,
Right.
right?
And along
Versus
with that,
somebody saying, I
Natasha.
don't care about their feelings, girl. I can
Yeah.
care less about how
Oh,
they
that
feel.
part right there.
You know, most people are like,
That
I can care
irritates
less
me
how
to
they
the
feel
core.
about it.
It does.
Yes.
I'm
And,
with
and,
you.
and, and a child's feelings are very important because what happens is if you don't manage a child's feelings well early, they turn out to be adults that go
Yeah.
around and do all kind of things and feel like, well, nobody cares how I feel anyway. So therefore, I don't care how you feel. So I'm gonna get you and I'm gonna do you in versus talking about emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Because that's something we don't cover.
No, I remember when Alicia used to get in trouble as a young child, she would be like, "Can I just go on and get my whooping? Because I want to know, why did you do that?
And
Why was that your decision? What made you decide that that was a good decision?" She was like, "Oh, can I just go on and get my beating? Can I get a beating and go on about the business?" No, because I need to dig up the root that's causing you to continue to do this action. What is it? So, Natasha, I agree with you about the school system, but I also agree that the school system, the parents should have to go through something as
Agreed.
well.
Agreed. Oh, yeah.
Your child
It's not
should
the
not
school's
be able to
responsibility
get
to
in
raise your
school.
kids.
Yes, you shouldn't be able to be in a school system without a parent, but without parents having to go through systems as well.
Don't get me started on parents.
Natasha, wait a
Okay,
minute,
we
'cause
don't have enough time for that one, Natasha. But
we ain't got time for that. But I was getting ready to say, in the same token that you expect the school to do it and parents to do it, parents also need to also be able to work with both parents. If both parents
yes,
are available,
Amen.
it's time out for every time you go to your dad's house, you come back crazy. It's time
Mhm.
out for, oh, you can do this over here, and then you go to somebody else's place, you're doing something else.
yes,
People need to get on the same page and understand that we
and
don't raise
stay
a
on
person who is
one.
getting ready to be an
Well,
adult.
take a look at what you're saying. I mean, a child is being split into different homes. They're
Mhm.
going to school and watching kids be in one family system, and they're leaving school and they're going into two different family
Oh,
systems, and the
awesome,
parenting styles is
Teresa.
different.
I know, Teresa.
Awesome,
Put some information in
Teresa.
the chat,
I
Teresa, so
love
people can know
that.
how to get in contact with you via that platform and program that you teach.
Wow.
That's really good. That's really good.
That's
Yes, that is
awesome.
so good.
Congrats. It's so needed. You know what I mean?
It's
So getting family members to realize that the child is torn by the fact that they have two households or sometimes
yes,
three households because you got a grandma on one end and you got a
Right.
dad on the other. Like,
yes.
so
Right.
in
And
my,
y'all argue every time you come pick them up. Every
yeah,
time you come
Or
or
you
drop the
question
kids.
what your daddy talking about? What they saying? Oh, what he got a
Who is she?
girlfriend over
Who
there?
is she?
yeah,
We,
why
we,
pull the child into the middle of your
the
nonsense?
child is like, I'm so sick of all y'all because
Oh,
everybody asking me questions and I just want to be me. I just want to.
I just want to be a child.
I mean,
I just want
listen,
to. Can I
that's
just
why
go
you
to the
get
playground?
runaways. That's why you get runaways. That's why
Yep.
you get children, getting themselves into trouble. They're seeking attention or they're just so fed up and they're just like, you know what, I'm going to do whatever because nobody
Mhm.
seems to care about me. They seem to be care more about each other's drama and
Yep.
what's going on in each
You
other's
you would
lives.
rather drag my daddy or my mom than you care about me. Because
Yep.
bottom line, I love my dad. I love
Yes.
Yeah,
my mom. But
And
yeah.
you
if you
had
talk
to
bad
love him
about
at one
me every
moment.
time we're together, that hurts my feelings because
Yes.
I still love my mom. I don't care about what relationship you all had. That has nothing to do with me because I didn't ask to be here.
I was
So the
the
fact that I'm
innocent
here,
one out of here.
right. So at what point do the adults come together and say, we've got to make the best decisions? It doesn't
Amen.
matter that we didn't stay together.
Amen.
We created this person.
Yeah.
And if you're planning on being part of their life, then we've got to come together and make decisions and make sure that this child knows they're loved on either side and keep
Mhm.
our personal feelings separate. Go talk to somebody and heal
And
from it.
deal with your
Heal.
feelings, right? You
And
have that
deal
breakup
with
with
your
your partner.
feelings.
Yeah,
You
like deal
are
with your
mad that
stuff.
he left. You did
Deal
not
with
want
that.
him to leave. I mean, let's come on. Stop being the giant and talking about, I'm glad he left. No, you are not.
Miss Patricia, somebody needs to write a book of reflections from the weekly broadcast of the Empowered Women of God morning show, because y'all are spitting out wisdom every day. Thank you so much, Miss Patricia. I'm just
I think
saying
that
that
would
would
be
be
a
a great
Christmas gift.
Christmas gift. You,
Oh, thank you. That is
yes,
so
yes,
beautiful.
yes.
That's why everybody should thank you. I love that God is allowing people to receive what they need to receive,
Amen.
or storage what maybe they don't need it right now,
Right.
but they're able to put it in the storage and come back to it. This is Nobody But God. We have told you how we come up with our topics, how we flow through. It is the good old great Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit,
Facts.
activate. Holy Spirit,
Facts.
activate.
Thank
A few
Even
you,
minutes
when
God.
before the show.
we say, okay, Sparkle, you're going to break this down. Then it changed. Like, God was like, I don't want her to break that down.
It went in
That
a whole
breakdown was
different
solely
direction.
for you yesterday. That breakdown was solely for you. So
It was. And maybe later, but
Exactly, exactly.
but that is the thing that we have to learn. And then Miss Teresa comes on and gives another way for help. So stop thinking that you're helpless, that nobody loves you, nobody wants to help you. No, yes, people are. She does it for FREE. FREE. Like, you don't have to always have, I don't have no money to do all this.
Right.
She does it
There are
for
resources.
free.
There are resources out here. And Miss Teresa, thank you so much for sharing that information. And if
Thank
everybody
you.
knows, because I mean, everybody, the reality is everybody doesn't see this show. If y'all know somebody who's dealing with those things, share this out, share her information so they can
Yeah.
reach out. Because we wanted
This woman
our
didn't
whole
even
thing.
gave her email address. Like, come
Yes.
on.
Healing, we're healing for real. And you know, when we talk about becoming her, it's not only just healing for you, heal your children, heal your family, heal your relationships so that the world can become better. Because then you
amen.
don't have to be stressed out and
Amen.
overwhelmed and worried about whether or not we're having World War 3, 4, 5, 10, or 20. We don't have to worry about that if the world can heal and
Yes.
we can recognize that we're all in this together, and destroying each other doesn't benefit anybody. And
Yes.
if we can come to a common ground and say, you know what, bottom line, respect me like I respect you, whether we from the same
Love
religion, the
me.
same
Well,
culture.
and you're not just destroying a child, you're destroying a generation. We're
Yes,
supposed to be
See,
evolving. We're supposed to
StreamYard
be
said, don't do that.
don't do that.
Even StreamYard agreed with us. I'm here for my live experience and understand. I'm gonna send you something, Teresa, because I would like for you to come on the morning show with us and really
So we
speak
can have
about that and dig deep, and also invite you to the Becoming Her experience. So, but I'll contact you later. I believe what we do have to do is get off of here.
yeah, we do.
We
We
do
do.
have to
Come
do
back
that.
tomorrow.
Yes, come back tomorrow for Winning Wednesday, where Empower Morning Show is dedicated to the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit has free range, and He selects what we talk about. He selects which direction it goes. It's all about Him. Have a blessed
right.
day. I believe God. Do you believe God? We believe God. We believe God. Have a blessed one. We'll see you back on tomorrow.